Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner. It is Friday the 5th of April and a lot of stuff to talk about after the market reaction late evening in US and overnight and this morning, so let's get cracking. We'll start with stock of the day. There was no stock of the day yesterday, but today we are back here. Nvidia, massive sell-off around 3.5% almost, but we also had this warning, bearish engulfing there, massive bearish engulfing there. The support at 841, 822, this gap area here is likely to be tested. If it takes it out, which I believe it will, with the massive divergence we have had here, well, then the sell-off down to around 771, possibly 742 could be seen. But this area there is really key. And moving on to what was going on in one of the other markets that we don't talk that much about, but in Japan here we have the Nikkei 225 future, 38,300 support. I think it will be tested fairly soon, and then we have. It is not really a double top because it's quite skewed, but it is really key. This area here, 38,300, 38,000 flat out. So let's see, but look out for that one at least. That's really a key support. S&P 500, the sell-off, and let's just zoom in a little bit more here. The sell-off yesterday also strongly indicates that a correction is unfolding. It can be further strengthen this sell-off tonight when we have non-farm payrolls coming out, or it can maybe ease the market a little bit depending on how the numbers will be. But expect quite a bit of volatility later today. 5,057 is the level we've been talking about for quite some time. I think it will be tested either today or going into next week. Then we are looking at 49.53 if this support is taken out. Nasdaq 100. We have on Nasdaq 100 17,800, 808. Very close to be tested. We have 55 moving average coming up, giving some support there. I think it could be tested later today. Again, we will have some the numbers come out later today. So let's see if that can really cause some volatility. If we do see a close below this level, well, then 17,478. There's some support, but we could see a sell-off all the way down to around 17,000 around these levels here. Really a top and reversal pattern is still in place right there. On the European markets, also we had this bearish engulfing top and reversal pattern or candle here formed a couple of days ago. Currently testing the 5,000 level. We are currently below 5,007, but this little, I would say, gap area, but it's been closest. And 4,976 key support if it takes out that, which I believe will at least it will be tested to begin with. Well, then there is potential down to around 4,900 to completely demolish this bearish picture or top reversal and bearish picture. We need at least to close the gap here this morning and also get back above 5,100 at least to just neutralize it. On DAX 100, also. We had this top and reversal like pattern here, currently below the rising trend line, a push down to 18,000, 17,900, where we have some fairly strong support here, could be tested. What is interesting is, contrary to all other markets, there is no divergence on the RSI indicating it could move higher after a correction, but that rate remains to be seen whether it will win or not, so to speak. But expect a correction unfolding after this long uptrend here. For the market to demolish this, we need at least to break back above and close above 18,428, and then we could resume uptrend. 872 we talked about for quite some time. I think it will be tested, could be tested today. We have gap lower here this morning. That gap needs to be closed for at least any chance of pushing higher. But 872 and then 860 key support. On the CAC 40, opening below 8,100 support. There's not really any strong support until around just 7,875, but of course 8,000 is a psychological level, so that expects some support around that level too. And finally, on the Swiss market, currently below, as we speak, is below the support at 11,536, lower level in this range-bound area, could sell off to around 11,345. Well, there's some support. You can see there's a little bit of a corrective area here. That always gives a little bit of support. Moving on to euro-dollar. Right now, esteemed just below the 61.8 retracement at 108.83. It was interestingly, it was the 100 moving average that rejected it, and we could now see euro dollar resuming downtrend. We are in a negative sentiment after being below 40, didn't break above 60. So again, later today could change everything with the US non-farm payrolls coming out. Little bit of support here at 108.22, but if we break back below the cloud and especially back below 108, expect a push down to around 107, 106.60 in coming weeks. Also, cable failed to close above 55 moving average and above the cloud, actually the 38.2 retracement, and we are now back below the cloud. The cloud area is this gray area here and this shaded area here. Expect some further selling. We are in a negative sentiment, so we should see a push below 125, at least to 125. If we do see cable closing above the cloud and yesterday's peak, well, then there's room up to 127.58. But you can see all the moving averages, they are really giving it a hard time. Dollar yen, again, testing the lower end of the range here, 150.84. The range we talked about for the past few weeks, that is the range that needs to break out of, and I think now possibly could be the downside, but it still remains to be seen. So keep an eye on these levels there. Euro yen rejected just around the 786 retracement at 164.77. Struggling a little bit to get back up again. I would say a little bit of range bound here. We could see a sell-off down to test the support here down around 163, 162.60. Excuse me. If it can get its mojo back together, well, then it needs to take out yesterday's peak at 164.92. There is RSI divergence indicating we should see lower levels. Aussie yen. Failed to close above a previous peak here, just above 100. So it's really hard to see any direction. I mean, there's a slight divergence on the RSI, meaning we could see lower levels, but key support is 98.20. So expect a lot of volatility in this range. And what I would do here, just very quickly, I would add a Fibonacci retracement just to see, give me some guidance, so we could see 61.8 retracement and 91 and a change, and 786 and 98.65. These are the levels I would look out for to the downside. Sterling yen. Key supports, short term, as we see this 61.8 retracement at 190. If it takes out that, well, then we are looking at 108.915, possibly lower, but there's some strong support here. We have the cloud support, we have the 55 moving average, but we could dip down to around that level. On the Aussie dollar, I would say we will be range bound here for quite some time, because we have all these moving averages pointing all over the place. So there's some conflicting directional on the moving averages. 66.40 to the upside, 64.85 to the downside. That is the key levels to look out for. Euro Swiss. Quite volatile here. I think we're trying to push back above, but never close. See how many times they actually spiked above, but never really closed above. And we can see this is a really strong resistance area around the 98.40, 45 level. Key support 97. If we break below that, well, expect a correction down to around 96.20. Dollar Swiss. I think we will see a correction here over the next few days. Well, not over the weekend, but Friday going into next week to at least 38.2 retracement at 89.55. It looks a little bit choppy short term, but medium term there's still room up to around 92.50. But do expect a little bit of a correction. But let's see if it takes out these levels here, the peak here from a couple of days ago, just around 91. Expect higher levels. The dollar index, and let's just zoom in on that one. So we got back below 104.24, find some support here at 55 moving average. We have all other moving averages, but the 100 that are rising, giving some support. We are in a positive sentiment. I think we will see a push higher towards the 105.83, especially if we see your dollar trading lower. Gold quite volatile at the moment, but there is the uptrend is intact. I mean, we do certainly a little bit of correction here with the move this morning, but you will see buyers are coming back in, and I still think there's potential up to 23.13, which is the 786 extension of this move here. So 786 is 786 of this uptrend here added to the correction. I still believe medium term, and it's actually shorter to medium term, there's potential up to around 23.50, 58, as we can also see here on the weekly chart over here. 200% of this larger correction, that is 23.50, and 100% or 1.00 extension of this, so this uptrend here, that is 23.58. So there's still potential up to that. But if we do take out the lows today, well, we can see a correction down to at least 22.50, possibly all the way down to 22.25. The silver, massive volatility here this morning also, but now pushing higher, and there's still potential up to 28.75, 30 level on the medium term, which I believe is that direction that we are moving. There's no divergence on the RSI daily and weekly, but if we do take out the lows from today, expect a bit of correction down to, below the 26 level. Just very quickly on cocoa, just should note that it did close yesterday above the support here at 9,267. So we could see a push towards previous peaks. Well, we will get a new high. It's debatable, but at least look out for these levels here. On the oil market, we have WTI pushing higher, and let's just zoom in a little bit. Or zoom out a little bit. It actually reached the 161.8 of this ascending triangle. There's still room up to around 90 level where we have some stronger resistance, but do expect some volatility. And Brent crude oil also above 90.5 resistance, potential up to around 92, 93, maybe a little bit higher. We could actually say, well, the peak here, well, let's have a look at where we are right there. There we are at 93.79. So in that area, some strong resistance, and I think it will be tested. There's no divergence on the RSI, indicating we are likely to see higher levels. Finally, US 10-year yields, and that's what it could be all about later today. Hovering around the 435, I mean, it did close bang on the other day, but then closed back below the following day, and yesterday also back below. So we could see see US 10-year yields dropping back to 427, maybe even 423 area, and test this lower rising trend line. If it does push higher today and does close back above 435, well, then next resistance is at around 450. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice Friday and weekend when you get there, and happy trading.